Hello everyone and welcome to another video. I wasn't really planning to make this video, but I literally just saw the Gran Turismo 7 State of Play stream showcase thing, and it's absolutely insane, and I thought I would do a quick video on it. I say quick, this might go on for a little bit. Just explaining what I saw, what I took away from it, and just things that you might not picked up, and just explain some stuff as well, because this game is crazy. It's so realistic that my mind is a bit blown, as you can probably tell from the excitement in my voice, and we're only a month away as well. But yeah, let's dive straight into it. Hopefully I will have some of the footage up in the top right hand corner, and I'll do my best to try and explain as much as I can. So it's going to be the 25th anniversary of Gran Turismo, and GT7 kind of celebrates that. We have over 400 cars, which isn't loads, like Forza has more than that, but it's not a bad starting place. 34 locations, or tracks if you will, and then there's 90 plus, I think 97 variations of these tracks as well. They said that they will be adding more DLC with tracks and cars coming in the future, so that list will be ever growing, which is good news to hear for everyone. Hopefully it's free DLC as well, but I guess we'll see. As I said earlier, we're only a month away basically. It's March the 4th is the release date as well, so yeah, that's actually not too far away at all now. So to start off, it seems like you basically have to start with a used car, which is what you used to do in the old Gran Turismo. So it's cool that they've stuck to their roots with that. And then in the campaign, it seems that the first race is the Sunday Cup as well, which is also legendary. And yeah, it's also just good to see that the campaign is back. We obviously didn't have one with GT Sport, which I was a bit disappointed with. I mean, it did get added later on, but it wasn't really a proper campaign like previous Gran Turismo titles. So yeah, just good to see that back. And then we have Gran Turismo Cafe, which is a new feature that they've added for GT7. And it's kind of based off the concept of a coffee and cars sort of, car meet sort of thing, where you basically go in there and they give you some sort of weird menu, it seems like. And you basically just have to do certain challenges in certain cars, and you basically get given rewards or loyalty points or something like that to get either, the rare cars you're looking at or whatever. I didn't fully understand it, but it does look pretty cool. And then also you get up close and personal to these cars, and also they have some of the car designers or the manufacturers there that will explain why they did certain design cues, which for a car nerd like me, this is like top tier level nerdgasm, which is really cool to see. So I definitely will be spending a lot of time in there probably. We then move on to Grand Central, which is where you can purchase, I think they set up to like 300 plus new cars from 2001 to present day, I guess. And they've kind of gone for this like shopping mall sort of feel, which is quite cool, I guess. Everything in this game just looks amazing, by the way. We'll talk about this more later, but it literally looks insane. The graphics look amazing. Which is always something that Gran Turismo's done with the previous consoles. I remember Gran Turismo 3 when that came out with the PS2, it just kind of took the graphical expectations of games up a level, and they definitely seem to have done that again with this one. Also, just going back to the Car Central thing, there's also the museum side of stuff again, which is cool to see. So again, like I said, it's a little bit, if you're a bit of a car nerd, you can find all this stuff out about your favourite manufacturers and cars, etc. there as well, which is nothing new, but it's just good that it's still there, I guess. And then we move on to used cars, which I'm a massive fan of this, because this is what I used to do when I had the original games or the previous titles. I was always in the used car lot, just buying the cheaper cars that you could then sort of fix up at GT Auto, which is also back. We'll talk about that a lot later. And yeah, it's just cool that you can get some old Japanese or old European or American cars that you couldn't actually get from the manufacturers or the Grand Central. You couldn't buy them brand new, so you had to get them used, which was cool. We also have like lots of random cars in there as well, which is always great to see, as well as some like quite cool or cult classic cars. So like you've got a lot of Japanese cars like the old Subarus. I think I saw a Lancia Stratos in there, which is so cool. Absolutely love that thing. And there was something else that was pretty cool in there as well. Oh yeah, Ferrari Testarossa was in there as well. So yeah, they also said that they update it every day. So you definitely should check out the used car lot every day, because you might find some absolute bargains in there, or just a really rare car that you want. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Very happy with that. We also then have legendary car dealerships, which seems that you can only get a select few each day. But again, this is something that changes every day. But we have like the really expensive cars. Like I think we saw Aston Martin DB5, some really old Mercedes in there, a Willys Jeep, which didn't seem that expensive. But yeah, just some old cool cars, and they have a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Like information about the history and all of that stuff. Again, it's just cool stuff. Like everything about this game just seems so cool. We've also got some tracks that are returning. So we've got, I think everyone knew this anyway, but Trial Mountain and Deep Forest is returning, as is High Speed Ring, which they all look amazing as well. They've obviously been redone, and yeah, they just look amazing. As does the whole game, as I said earlier, and I'm so excited about this game. You can probably tell on my voice. As well as those tracks, we also have other tracks that I saw, like Spa, Laguna Seca was there, and Le Mans was the other big one that I definitely saw was there. But anyway, what I was going to say is that there is the circuit experiences back from GT Sport, I think. I think that's the first game to have it. Could be wrong with that. But yeah, that's cool that that's back. Another thing just to do. There is literally so much to do in this game that, there's just going to be so much content and just stuff to do, which I'm really looking forward to. You can also now do personalized races, which can have time and weather changes, as well as you can choose the other cars as well, I think. Which is pretty cool. So that's another new feature that you can do. License tests are back, or the license center is back, which I am absolutely buzzing for. It's going to be so good. I used to love just challenging myself, trying to get gold on every single one so you could get like a rare car or something, just to help you get into the next stage of the campaign and stuff. And I'm so glad it's back. I love those. And I really hope that they're actually pretty difficult, because we had some on GT Sport that I didn't think were actually that hard. I hope that you have to proper grind, like you have to be really on it to do it, because the ones on the old PlayStation and the PlayStation 2 and stuff, they were quite challenging. So I hope that they've gone more like a proper hard to get these licenses again. We also have mission races returning. They seem to be a lot more unique events than they were previously, as opposed to just like, oh, can you overtake the whole grid in one lap or something? It seems to be much more like a drag race. So you've got to do a drag build to do it, which seems quite cool. It's like a Lamborghini versus a Nissan GTR Nismo, I think. And it had like a ducktail spoiler, which I thought looked really cool. In the Gran Turismo games, we haven't had that much customization, but there definitely is a lot more customization, which we will talk about later. But also with mission races, there was things like drifting and unique challenges, which, yeah, is just something cool to do. And hopefully this means that there might be some sort of leaderboard, so it can get a little bit competitive as well, which is never a bad thing. We also have two-player split screen, which for a long time wasn't in games, but it does seem to be making a bit of a return. We also have some special lobbies and meets that you can just meet up with your friends, so it's not like a GT Sport competitive side of stuff, but GT Sport seems to be back as well. So the whole basis of online, that there's the competitive ranked side of stuff. So I assume FIA championships are going to be back and all of that stuff, which is great news for us all that like to play online and test ourselves a bit. And then we move on to visuals, which, as I said earlier, this game looks unbelievable. It looks so good. The cars literally look gorgeous, like unbelievable, so realistic. And they talk about a lot of ray tracing, and I think this is one of the first games that I've seen that it seems to be using it an awful lot, and it just takes it to another level, I think. And if you can replicate some of the stuff that we're seeing in these trailers in the actual games, which I think they are because it's running off the PS5 engine, it's just going to blow your mind. It's going to be unbelievable. I assume because it is coming out on PS4 as well, that it probably won't look as good on PS4, but on PS5, if you're lucky enough to have one, it's going to be unbelievable. And then they moved on to time and weather, and this is going to get quite technical, so sorry, but again, this is just amazing to me. So they literally think of everything. So they've actually simulated cloud formation in the game, as well as in the stream. They actually started explaining about cloud formation, which is such a Gran Turismo thing, like literally leave no stone unturned, which I thought was quite funny. But on top of the cloud formation, we also have day and night cycles now, as well as realistic weather and atmospheres. And I've also forgot to say that also we have authentic skies for both night and day. So depending on where you're doing racing, you'll actually have an authentic sky. So for instance, if you were racing somewhere in Japan, it would actually look like what the sky looks like in Japan. And you might think, Jumbo, it probably doesn't look that different to the rest of the world, but apparently it does, because they also mentioned California, and I imagine California is just sunny all the time, so seems very nice over there. And on top of that, they've also seemed to have mapped which the sun and moon paths as well, which is crazy. So the actual shadows and stuff will be realistic to the actual tracks and stuff. And just when you think it couldn't get more crazy, they've actually added in the night skies I was going to say official, but the planets and stars that are actually in the sky. And sometimes you can only see them at certain times of year or at certain environments. So if it's like, I don't know, foggy, obviously you won't be able to see it. But it is literally insane. Like, they've literally replicated the actual sky and the environment down to a T, that it's literally what it's going to be actually like at these real circuits. So yeah, mind is a bit blown by this. So speaking a bit more about atmospheric pressures and changes, these actually affect the driving physics. So it will affect tyre grip, engine power, and slipstream. So for instance, if I was to make this into F1 terms, when we go to Mexico, we're at a certain altitude where you can't get as much oxygen or air into the car as you normally would because the air is thinner, which means that the engines can't produce as much power. And basically they've taken that concept and applied it into a video game. It's just insane to think that these kind of things are in a video game now. So also, like, you know, the level of water and stuff will affect the tire grip, which we've had in other ones, but it will also affect slipstream. So, you know, if you're in a thinner air, maybe you'll go through it quicker because the air's not as thick. So yeah, it's just crazy little things like this that I'm just like literally blown away by. It's unbelievable. They also went on to say that puddles will form where they're prone to form. So I assume if there's a little divot in the road in real life where they've laser scanned the track, yeah, water will actually sit there. And things like the racing line will dry out faster and there'll be more grip on that and stuff in changeable conditions. They've also added a rain cloud radar on the HUD, so you can see where the rain clouds are going to be forming and stuff, which they said will be useful for tracks like the Nordschleife, the Nürburgring, because what they say is that that's such a big track that it could actually be raining in one part of the track, but be dry on the rest of the track, which, again, that's like real life, isn't it? You see that all the time in motorsports and just in real life, which is, again, it's just crazy, man. It's so good. I also noticed that they added a moisture meter, which seems to go above 100, so I don't understand how that works. Does that mean that you haven't actually got any traction on the tarmac at all, so you're actually aquaplaning? I'm not sure, but even so, a little bit more information, which is cool. And then they go on to replays, which isn't too different to what the other ones have done, but again, just looks amazing. They did actually, I did lie about that, they did actually add a new thing called a music replay, which actually syncs up music to the replay, so it'll do certain angles of your car and stuff and change it along with the music, which, as someone that loves music and in cars and like it all being synced together, it was a real showpiece and it looked really good. So yeah, I was a bit surprised at how good that looked and how well it synced up. So yeah, if you're like me and you like cars and you like music, this could definitely be something that you might tap into a bit more. And then we go on to car physics. Now, Lewis Hamilton's obviously had ties with GT Sport and stuff, and they mentioned FIA championship drivers as well as Michelin all providing data and just expertise to help them build their physics model, which is crazy really, because they're getting real life information to help build this simulations. And then with some of this data, they've actually been able to make sure that the lap times of, for instance, certain cars, so certain like GT3 cars will actually do their representative lap times to what they actually, their real life counterpart would actually do, again, which is so cool. And I assume that like a bog standard BMW M3 will probably act like a normal BMW M3 as well, which is, yeah, again, it's just crazy really when you start thinking about all this stuff. They've also used CFD, which is, I can't remember what the C stands for it, but it's fluid dynamics, which is basically where it helps with aerodynamics. So where F1 teams and like manufacturers and stuff, when they're building new parts or cars and stuff, they use CFD just to see how it would work in the real world and going at certain speeds and stuff without having to put it in a wind tunnel all the time. And to think that a video game is now using it, I don't think it's unheard of that a video game's using it, but even so, it's like a very high standard to be putting in a video game. So it's pretty cool that they've use CFD to help things like changeable conditions will be affected. They'll be able to run all simulations like this with tyre wear, car tunes, and just things like that. How your aero's working is like accurately calculated as if it was done in a motorsport or car manufacturers, which again, is amazing. It's literally amazing. They then went on to talk about the new controller, or how the DualSense controller, the PS5 controller, works with Gran Turismo. And they said that through the adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback, you'll be able to feel things up like lockups, so the brakes locking up. And if you're going too quickly, you'll actually be able to feel the tyre grip start to disappear and stuff, which again, it's crazy. If you've ever played on the PS5 the Astro Bot game, the level of haptic feedback in that is very good. And if this game's been obviously designed for PS5, so I assume that the level of haptic feedback and the adaptive triggers is going to be ridiculously good on this, because I've used obviously I used to use the controller on the PS5 for F1, and that was very good, but obviously that wasn't designed to use that controller. It's designed to be available for everyone. Well, literally this has been designed for that controller, so I'm expecting really big things in terms of feedback with that controller, and see how it could compare to the wheel as well. That'd be quite interesting to see. I also noticed during this segment as well, and hopefully I can get the clip of it, is that the tyre seemed to actually deform under excessive load. So obviously it would do that in real life, but it's quite cool. I know this game is insane, the amount of detail that's gone into it, but just to actually see that in a replay was actually pretty cool, that you can actually see the tyre deform going around a corner, which, then 3D audio. So the only thing I really want to mention about this, there was a bit where they showed a car going underneath a monorail in Japan, I assume, and you could actually hear it go over the car. So obviously with this being a Sony exclusive, PS5 exclusive game, they've actually worked with 3D audio to actually be able to feel that, or get the realism and the immersion more with the sound, which was quite impressive. I also noticed that the pop-up headlights of the car we were in, I can't remember the actual car we were in, it was red. It was probably on screen as I'm talking about this, and they actually, you see them pop up and pop down, but actually when they go down, you can actually hear them close, which again is just like that little bit of detail that just takes the whole game to another level. It really is ridiculous how much detail this game has gone into. And then we get on to tuning and customization. So I mentioned this, well, probably ages ago now, right at the beginning of the video. But there's a lot of tuning and customization compared to previous titles. So they say that there's over 60 car parts or upgrades, engine upgrades, or like brake pads and things that you can actually do to tune your car. There's actually 60 parts of those per car that you can do. It's a bit like the old school GT, but it's sort of taken to another level. And they actually demonstrated when they tuned a VW Beetle, and it was so much faster than a stock one, as you'd expect, but it was just quite cool to see how much faster and how the car sort of handled and things like that. It was quite cool to see that. GT Auto, we also saw that there's painted brake calipers now, but they seem to be only a certain or a finite amount of colours. I would say about 10, possibly up to about 16, because it seemed about 2 pages of them. But it does seem from that preview anyway that we couldn't get any colour brake calipers. It had to be certain ones, and they're all Brembo as well, because I think they've got a partnership. But even so, we can paint the brake calipers. We also had loads of different wings, and you can actually change the end plates of the wings as well, which again is pretty cool. They mentioned 650 aero parts, 130 different wheels, and then 1200 official paint colours from the manufacturers, which again is a lot, and I assume that you'll be able to make any color you want as well, as done in previous games, but to know there's official colors as well is really cool. We've also then got roll cages as well as wide body modifications as well on certain cars. The livery editor's also been updated, and you can now add stickers on things like windows and stuff like that, as well as more stickers just in general on the car. And also oil change and the car wash is back, which is quite an iconic feature in the old Gran Turismos. It used to be that if you bought a new car and you changed the oil, you get a little bit more increase in horsepower. So I wonder if that Easter egg is still in this game. Definitely will be interested to see if that is. I also noticed that there was condition meters for oil, engine and body rigidity, which is quite cool to see. That was obviously a big part in previous games as well. And this also means that you can also change oil as I explained, but you can also do engine overhauls, which again was something else you could use to do in GT Auto. So again, it's just cool to see that back. I did also notice that the prices of doing something like a wide body kit or overhauling the engine is different per vehicle or per car. So it'll be interesting to see that. Like, I think one of them was a Porsche, and it was about 100,000 to do an engine overhaul, I think, or a wide body, I can't remember. And then it went to one of the old Beamers, and that was only about 25 to 50,000. I can't remember exactly, but there definitely was a price discrepancy between the two cars. And then we have scapes and pictures, and there's over 2,500 places to take pictures, and you can take HDR photos. And to be honest, as someone that likes taking photographs of cars just in general, if you check out my Instagram, which is a beautiful little segue to go and check out my Instagram, I do take pictures of the cars from Forza, F1, and obviously Gran Turismo, because from what I saw, it looks ridiculously good. And you can also take pictures from races now as well, which is something you've been able to do in Forza for a little while, but now you can do that in Gran Turismo, which is quite cool. It means that you don't have to try and... It's not always a scape photo, basically. You can actually do stuff in the race now, which is a nice feature. And then we get to music, which is pretty much the last thing they talk about. The music seems so good. They always are in these Gran Turismo games. They do seem to have brought some of the old music from previous titles. So I think we saw one from GT5, which was really cool to hear that sort of music again. But finally, they also added a new feature in, which is music rally races, where basically you try to get as far as you can within the length of a song around a track, which was quite cool because, you know, driving to music is quite cool to see how far along you would actually get. It's not really like an exclusive feature, I wouldn't say, or like it's not really a standout feature. It's probably more what I'm trying to say, but it's definitely something that was pretty cool. I think that's going to wrap it up. I've talked for a long time and it's currently 2 o'clock in the morning, so I've probably woken all the neighbours up as well because I'm literally so excited about this game and we're only a month away. So it comes out on March the 4th if you're interested. If you want to smash the like button if you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you in the next one.